You welcome to the Liza and Anne Marie show. My name is Anne Marie Allen, and this is Liza Popova. Liza, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. As Ann said, my name is Liza, and currently I'm a customer experience improvement analyst at 3M, but I still have a big love toward marketing and social media trends. And I'm really excited to be recording this little mini episode with Anne Marie. And Anne, would you like to kind of give some feedback on what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so right now I'm a marketing intern for Everytable, and like Liza said, we're both big lovers of marketing, and we definitely have seen a bunch of trends about TikTok, and many marketers are jumping on the train of utilizing it to amplify their social media strategy, amplify their paid advertising strategies. And so we would love to shed a little bit more insight on those who maybe are not as familiar with the platform and are curious about it and looking to utilize it to its fullest potential, essentially. And so
Yeah, for sure.
definitely we just want to talk about who is on TikTok and maybe why you should be there.
Yeah, and I feel like Ann and I spoke about this earlier, and a lot of people are very skeptical about the platform because they think it's a Gen Z thing. But we just wanted to provide, yeah, as Ann said, a little bit of background on like what is possible and how to go about it for people who aren't familiar and who maybe feel a little bit insecure that they don't know what's going on. So yeah, if we're just to kind of jump into demographic kind of facts and the data, I don't know if you had this issue, Anne, but a lot of websites kind of disagree and give very different data in terms of what that makeup looks like. So what were some what were some ranges that you were seeing?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things about TikTok is that they are notorious for not releasing too much information about their platform. And so definitely these are rough estimates, but from what I saw from 2019 and expected from 2020, my data is a little bit older. But for 2019, they had over 37.2 million total US users and are expected to surpass 45 million in 2020, which I'm sure that they exceeded with the rise in usage of the platform during the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. Did you have that same data, Liza, or was it?
Were you saying you were just talking about the United States, correct?
Yeah, just in the United States.
Okay. So I think those numbers more or less match what I was seeing. I looked more of the global, kind of from the global perspective, including the Chinese version of the app. There's about 800 million users, and currently it's ninth in social media platforms. So that's kind of what I was seeing more or less. And in terms of demographics, in terms of age demographics, I should say, that's where I kind of saw the most uh, you know, how do you say diverse, like a big range of answers because, and I will list all of the sources that I've been, using at the end of the video. But some websites say that 62% are 10 to 29-year-olds. Some websites say that 41% of TikTok users are between 16 and 24-year-old. So, other websites say that 69% of the user base is between 13 and 24. Obviously they have different cutoffs, but if you look at like the approximates, sort of in the 60% range there. Is that what you've been seeing?
So for mine, I have 69% are between the ages of 16 to 24. But
Okay.
somewhat similar, I'd say that following share is 16% of millennials are on the app as well.
Yeah.
So I certainly think that's a significant amount of users on the app. And I would agree. They're around the same, but a little bit different from wherever you're looking at. I was looking at specifically at Statista and then Morning Consults.
hmm Yeah, I looked at Statista as well. And in terms of, how you can take advantage of all of those people, that doesn't sound really good. How can you take advantage of the attention of those, people? Is so there's a few ways, right? So from, the holistic view, there's three main ways as a company, as a brand, that you can do this. So first, you can create your own channel and post videos there, or you can pay influencers and do some influencer marketing, or third way is you can pay TikTok directly. And within that pillar, there's 4 ways that you can go about collaborating with TikTok. And the terminology for those is in-feed videos, which is obviously when you're scrolling and then the ad comes up. Branded takeover, that's the first video that comes up when you just open the app, and we'll touch about the effectiveness of that one in just a little bit. And then the hashtag challenge, and then you can also have a branded lens. And so not to rush ahead, but I also have guesstimates of what that would cost you from a leaked pitch deck that we can talk about in a minute. But Anne, I know you have experience with advertising on TikTok. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So over this past summer, I was the social media intern for Curology, where I worked essentially on their TikTok organic strategy. So I worked on the organic social, but I also worked closely with the influencer team and the acquisition team on our paid social side of TikTok. And so, from an organic social side of things, I think it's really about finding the content pillars that are going to transform from other social media strategies to TikTok. And how can you watch what's happening with trends and songs and make it fit your product in a way that isn't such an ad? I mean, even when I first was starting on making TikToks for Curology, I would get so many comments of, oh, I just scroll on an ad on my For You page or things like that. But then as we continue to go on and refine our strategy, it became a lot more comments that were very much on brand for the content and the product, which was amazing to see. And so really with that, I would love to go more into it if anyone would have any questions for me, but certainly finding content and content pillars that are relevant to the actual platform and understanding your audience and what they're looking at on that platform for sure. But from a paid side of things, there are a multitude of strategies that you can do from paid acquisition sides that you're already doing on other platforms that will work as far as the actual in-app data analytics tells you CAC and things around that sort of measurements of how much you're paying for an ad and how much you're getting in return for your ROI of who's actually converting on this advertisement. But we found that we would test out 3 different versions of maybe a particular ad with an opening of like a call to action, or maybe having it at the end, and see what would work for the actual product. And then we would also try to come up with new creative ways of capitalizing on trends, but also putting it into the advertisement, but also keeping in mind that, okay, some trends are like attached to an audio, and depending on how much your company can pay for the audio, it's very expensive to use an audio trend on TikTok. For the company, it wasn't really in the budget, but certainly if you do have the marketing budget, it's definitely a great way to, if you're just scrolling on your For You page, you may not realize it's an ad because it does utilize a trend. So these are just certain things that I picked up and learned along the way while I was, working with TikTok. But I would love, Liza, if you could kind of go into more depth on maybe the 4 ways that people can advertise on TikTok.
Yeah, for sure. So I think you're referencing the 4 ways that in terms of like collaborating with TikTok, itself, right?
Yeah, so Curology, they mainly used in feed ads.
Yeah. So I would say that, and we spoke about this, so I personally think that those are the most effective ways to go about it, because because we're as a generation are trained to
Spot an ad.
ads a mile away, right? So we don't even react anymore. So the more natural it looks, the more it looks like a TikTok, the better. So, and I do want to ask you a question about the creator fund, and if you had any interaction with that in just a second. But as promised, here are some guesstimates. Don't quote me on this. I don't know if this is true about the cost, and you were kind of talking about budget. So the numbers get pretty fun. For the in-feed video, the number was $25,000 minimum. I think for a day. I'm not sure. I don't think it was mentioned, but I think it's a daily number there. For a brand takeover, it's $50,000 per day. For a hashtag challenge, it's $150,000 for 6 days, and for a branded lens, it's anywhere from $80,000 to $120,000. Again, I think that is for a week. but don't quote me on this. So again, this might not even be right, but it was interesting because those are some numbers that were shared on one of the blogs that we looked at to do research for this video. So, and if you would like to elaborate a little bit more on the creator fund and what that looks like, and if you heard of any numbers there, because obviously these numbers don't have to do with influencers and kind of the rates there. So if you had to estimate, would they be in the same realm, do you think?
You know, potentially. I haven't really heard about any number estimates for that. A little bit of insight on like what I do know for costs. So, like, let's say an in-feed post, we would obviously divide whatever total number was spent on versus how much we're converting and how many people are viewing an actual in-feed post. And I think sometimes it would come out to like maybe $60 for CAC or something around that level. And so I can imagine that if you're going to use a creator fund, I know that per view they'll get a certain amount of money, the creator will. And I don't think it's that much, because what TikTok does is for creators, they'll allocate a certain amount per year, and then that will divide it per day based on how many creators within the creator fund are making content that day. And so there could be maybe $1 million for one day. And so let's say you'll get a certain amount of views, like it could come out to cents or even dollars, even if it is a popular video. So I'm not quite sure how much a brand would pay on their side of things. I know I'm a little bit more familiar on like the creator side of things for that.
Mm-hmm. Got you. And I, what I do know is the mechanism that they're using to target audiences, right? So I think there's two ways that they'll go about it. They kind of look at the behavioral pattern or demographic pattern, and the behavioral one is attached to the last week of activity, and the demographic is obviously attached to age, gender. I don't know if sexual orientation. I don't think sexual orientation, but age, gender, for sure. And I think there is a way right now for the brands to look at creator demographics and select the creators or influencers accordingly.
It is interesting because TikTok doesn't actually ask you when you sign up your gender or any of those types of demographic questions, but they know a certain amount about their audience, such as their gender, such as their average maybe estimate of household income. So there are certainly a lot of insights that brands can be provided by TikTok, and these insights that they're gathering from their users.
Yeah, for sure. And I think right now it's kind of in the preliminary stage. They're still working on all of this, and it's a baby stage right now. They're not very sophisticated in all of this, but I mean, obviously there are case studies already, right, with Ocean Spray and with Universal Pictures. I think one of the movies they have, TikTok has on their website, like a little case study there as well. So, I mean, it's obviously working, even though it's in its infancy. And I guess, just to wrap up, maybe most people who don't really know too much about TikTok have heard about the acquisitions, though, right, and the whole deal with Trump banning it in the States, and then Oracle and Walmart jumping in. So as of right now, I think there are still talks about what's going to happen. But the latest article that we were able to find said that Oracle is going to be the data host and is going to hold about 12.5% of the shares, and then Walmart will hold another 7.5%. And then the remaining 80% are going to be held by ByteDance, which is the parent company, which also owns the Chinese version of the app. And so maybe you also heard that it was banned in India the official, I think, reason initially was because it was grooming young children and because it was considered pornography. And then after that, it was, deemed as a national security issue, right? So that's why it's banned there. So nevertheless, I think that TikTok is here to stay for at least the next 5 years. And I think it would make sense for your brand to look into this, or just if you're a marketer, working for an agency, to obviously be aware of this. And do you have any closing thoughts before we read off our sources?
Yeah, I mean, not only my final thought is that not only do I think it's here to stay for at least another 5 years, I think that within the next year or so, TikTok will become the leading marketer's choice for a social media platform, as well as users' choice for a social media platform. I've heard many people, younger people such as ourselves within Gen Z, jumping from Instagram. I mean, they've already jumped from Facebook to Instagram to now TikTok as their preferred social media platform. And I think, especially marketing to this our generation, is certainly essential to have some sort of presence on TikTok. And I think that that's mainly the leading reason why brands should be investing in the platform right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I forget the year of the study, but Microsoft did a study on attention spans, and it was like, I want to say like even 5 years ago, it was something like 6 seconds. So now I don't even know if it's five point something or less. So I mean, it's a perfect app for that.
Definitely is. But for as far as my sources, I already have sort of spoken about it, but I mainly looked at Statista and Morning Consult to acquire my data demographic statistics.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And I'm sure we'll list everything in the description of the video, but some of the things I looked at were obviously TikTok's website, businessofapps.com, aberto.com, hootsuite.com. I always want to say hoot, but I know that's not right. So hootsuite.com, NPR, The Guardian, neilpatel.com blog. He has actually a pretty good blog, so check out Neil Patel, and influencermarketinghub.com. And the New York Times. So anyway, we hope this was helpful. I know this was a lot of information packed in a very short period of time, but in order to have at least like a working based understanding, I think this should suffice. Obviously, things change really rapidly nowadays, so I'm sure we'll have to update this in a few months. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. And I loved talking to you today. Thank you so much for getting on this call with me and talking about TikTok on a Sunday afternoon.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and make sure to follow us so that you will be notified when we make our next video. Thank you.
For sure. All right. Bye, everybody. Be safe.